Welcome back to the TVG studios on the Morning Line. Obviously, the entire horse racing industry, myself included, is absolutely heartbroken with the passing of Cigar. I have to say, most people have these talks about who their favorite horse is, and Cigar, hands down, goes down as my absolute favorite. Now, Twitter is just absolutely ablaze right now with condolences, just heartfelt responses. So we'll get right into it. These are just a few of many that we found. Paula says, almost cried when I learned that one of my all-time faves, the unique Cigar, died today at 24. Rest in peace, legend. And I know that we all feel exactly the same way. Dan Wilkins says, very sad to see two-time Horse of the Year Cigar has died. One of the best I ever saw run in person. Andy Serling also posted something on Twitter earlier today. He says, sorry to hear that Cigar has died. Like true greats, he always brought his A game. And there's absolutely no denying that with his fantastic streak and just the enjoyment that he brought to all of his fans. And our last tweet that we have today is from MTB Vixen. Reading tweets that the great Cigar died. He was the horse that made me fall in love with racing as a kid. I would completely agree with that. Now let's check in with Tom Minnick and hear their thoughts about the passing of the great Cigar.
Brittany, thank you very much, and welcome to the set over here. Tom Cassie alongside the Sarge, Nick Hines. And Sarge, as we talk about the great Cigar, and as Tom Durkin had said in his call in the 95 Classic, the unconquerable, invincible, unbeatable Cigar. You know, I was a little kid, and obviously I grew up in racing and harness racing, but you know, as a kid, when I think of that first thoroughbred racehorse, that first thoroughbred call that really jumps out and sticks in my mind, it always comes back to that classic Victory. And there's no doubt in my mind he's one of the horses that has certainly helped, if not the horse that really helped me fall in love with this beautiful game.
Well, you know, again, for what the late, great Alan Paulson brought to the thoroughbred sport and horse racing as we know it, essentially the sport of kings. You know, it's interesting if you go back knowing that there was a little family banter, and Madeline Paulson was actually the original owner of Cigar, and Alan Paulson was traded Eliza. So they actually traded. That was just a kind of a family thing. And I remember Cigar being the fact, because those were the first couple of years in which I had trained. I started training in 1994. He didn't race as a 2-year-old. So for him to accomplish what he did, to have equaled the mark of Citation, winning 16 straight races at a time which it seemed unthinkable, considering the competition that he had faced, and to have won that inaugural running of the Dubai World Cup, that really put it all in perspective, because I think it brought horse racing relevant yet again to a sport that, you know, has had its knocks, it's kind of had its struggles, and through the 80s we had some remarkable runs of horses, but he was deemed the horse of the decade of the 90s, and for Cigar to have done what he did in a short amount of time, having not raced as a 2-year-old, you know, for him to leave this earth, and unfortunately his legacy won't live on through progeny, as he was a failure at stud, deemed infertile, and he was quantified at $25 million to Coolmore once he set out to stud. So he will dearly and truly be missed. And, you know, again, he's a horse that as you alluded to, brought horse racing back to the first degree, and you know, a horse that was retired there at the Garden, you know, retirement ceremony. I think it was Bill Cosby was the master of ceremonies. It really put into perspective, because this was a conversation you have with just any average Joe on the street. Hey, what about Cigar? How many times, and when is the last time you heard of a horse having a police escort, and then the whole race at Del Mar? And I've said this before, but I remember a football coach in college. Our team was undefeated, and we were defeated. And he had written on the chalkboard, a tree's worth can never be measured until it has fallen. So I think as we reflect on the career of Cigar, I think we realize that we've lost a great one. And 24 years in the horse kind of age is up there. But it's still very unfortunate. We're going to miss him dearly.
We certainly are. 19 for 33, lifetime earnings of $9,999,815. Cigar, the champ, certainly going to be missed, and we're going to be thinking about his win streak and everything he's accomplished for a very, very long time.